And good afternoon. This is Cesar Rivas from Sound Payments, the National Sales Executive for Sound Payments, specifically our Sound POS solution. And of course, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This is actually the first workshop of this year. Some of you may have already participated in the workshops that I dictated last year. If you did not, those are all available on our YouTube channel. Just go to Sound Payments on YouTube and you'll find the workshops there as well. Just wanted to explain a little bit about, if you've never been in one of these workshops, kind of how it works. First 15 minutes, I'll talk about features or something about the POS itself. And then the last 15 minutes is kind of a repetitive content. So you really only have to see the first workshop completely. And then after that, just the first 15 minutes of any future workshop, because the second half is kind of my sales pitch to share with you, all right? This is a workshop that's meant for our partners or resellers, ISOs, ISVs, and so forth, not really meant for the merchants themselves, even though they probably get some benefit from it. During the first 3 workshops of this year, and this is the first workshop that I'm holding this year, we're going to do the contents of workshops that I did last year. The first 2 workshops, simply because I had just gotten the job and really was getting to know the solution. And now I feel like I'm much more better equipped to provide a workshop. And then we're going to do a 3rd workshop, which I held in July last year while I was in Chicago at the Midwestern Acquirers Association, because for some reason that hotel had a bad internet connection and it was kind of all accidented. All right. And then after that, we're going to add some new contents, new features that we've been adding this year to the POS. And towards the end of the year, we want to change the format a little bit and maybe bring on some partners and share with you kind of their tactics, their strategy, their successes, and hopefully that'll help you as well. So today's workshop is going to be around really the terminal management, kind of the startup of the whole POS. Again, the idea is that we empower our partners and provide them with a solution so they can own the relationship and manage that relationship directly with the tools that we provide. So depending on the structure that you work with, you may or may not have access to the PAC store. The PAC store is, let me switch over here. PAC store is kind of the website where you manage your terminals. Okay, let me go in here. All right. So you may or may not have access to this, but I want to share with you anyway, regardless, so you understand kind of the structure and how the terminals are rolled out. All right. The idea is that with the PAC store, the reseller has full independence, full control of how they manage their POS terminals. This is my PAC store demo account, so it's not a real production account. And I've got all of the terminals that are assigned to me for the purposes of demo. All right. I mean, it gives you full control from the point of, you can see the geolocation, your terminal geolocation. So today, for example, I'm going to be working with an A920, and you can see where I'm located, right? I'm in Boston, South Boston waterfront, about a block away from where the NEAA convention is being held at the Westin. So it gives you that ability. It gives you the ability really to control or activate new terminals. So if you go to terminal management here again, you can just add the terminals, upload the software. You even have the ability to control the terminals remotely. Just want to show you real quick. So you'd be able to, for example, the A920 that I'm using, I can activate AirViewer, and you'll see on the screen, I'm going to be able to share my screen with you. But not only that, you can even take control of the device remotely. So it's truly a solution that can be rolled out remotely without any need of traveling to the location, and provide the same level of service you would if you were there in person. So if you wanted to control the POS, you would just activate it here. Okay. Somebody on the other end has to approve it, of course. But once you have that, then you're going to be able to, open up the apps and so forth. All right. So just wanted to show you a little bit of kind of the control center for the POS in terms of the hardware. Okay. Now I want to show you our seamless portal. The seamless commerce portal is kind of the website or the tool that we provide you as a reseller. And again, depending on how you're structured with your processor, you may or may not have access to this. All right. So here's where you're going to be able to add your new stores and also manage your terminals. So these are all, again, a demo version of the device, of the website, sorry. These are all the stores that I've created to provide different demos and so forth. And then, of course, you get to manage the devices that are active. I've deactivated all the other devices that you saw on that first PAX page, and I only work with these two currently, the A920 and the E700. Now, here's where you have the ability to assign these terminals to specific stores. The great thing about our solution is that if you sign somebody up and they decide a couple of months down the road they don't want to continue, you just pick that terminal up and reassign it to somebody else. And I want to show you, it's a very, very easy process. You simply click on transfer device. You seek the store that you want to transfer to. Okay, it's going to be listed on here. And then you just click on transfer. Boom. And then the only other step is it's going to generate new encrypt keys. So both for the request and response encrypt keys are going to be generated new. So all you need to do is just go back to the to here. Okay, and I'm actually going to log out of here for a minute. All you have to do is go back in here and share that. You would just go in here and place those two keys. Once you deactivate the device, you reset it, you're going to see where you're going to be able to place those two keys. So it's that easy to transfer a terminal from one merchant to the other. That's all it takes. All right. And again, you as a reseller, you have full control of it. The other thing I wanted to mention, now that we are looking at the terminal itself, or the device and where it's assigned to, is kind of the billing and how we work. We bill you, the reseller, directly. We don't bill merchants. We really don't have any contact with merchants. Remember that we don't even do processing. So the idea is that you own the whole enchilada, so to speak. All right. But here is where it's really critical that we're clear as far as how we bill you, the reseller. We always bill you in advance, meaning that we're not going to bill you in arrears. But the way that it works is the following way. On the first of every month, we're going to check your account to see which terminals are enabled or active. All right. So as a matter of fact, if you look on here, you can see that both of these terminals are active, right? And then on the 5th of the month, we're going to send you a bill for whatever number of terminals you've got active so that you can pay by the end of that month. So that bill will pertain to the month where the terminal was identified as active on the 1st of the month, and you have until the end of the month to pay it. So we bill you in advance, but you're really going to be paying pretty much, you can pay the last day of the month, which would be also paying in arrears. So that has an advantage for you and also the merchant, right? And that is that if you sign a merchant up after the 1st of any month, the merchant's going to get that remainder of that month for free. They're not going to have to pay for that, okay? But it's critical that you are clear about the fact that you are responsible for disabling a device that's not going to be used prior to the 1st of the next month, because we are going to charge you based on whatever device are active, regardless of whether they've had transactions or not. We really don't go inside and look at the transactions, all right? So it's very easy, as you can see. All you got to do is uncheck enabled, save and close, and boom, the device will not show up on the 1st of the month as an active device. It's as simple as that, all right? So I wanted to share that with you. And then, of course, wanted to get into the meat and potatoes of the presentation today, which is first and foremost, store creation. So this is where you're going to create your stores. I've created all these stores here. Now, the system has a wizard that helps you to create the store. So if you click on add new, you're going to input all the information, and it's going to walk you through each one of the steps, you know, creating the tax, creating, if you want, payment methods, users, and so forth, all right? You can also add your products and your categories and so forth while you're doing the creation, but that could take a little bit of time, right? We always recommend, in terms of products and so forth, that you utilize the import feature, which is covered in a different workshop through the Excel spreadsheet. It's a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, and again, you have a lot more time then to make corrections and so forth if you need to. One thing, though, I do want to point out: when you do create a store, there are times where after you create the store, and let me log in. Let's see the store that maybe has not even been created fully. Okay, this is just a store, one of the ones that I've already created in the past. Give it 1 second while it pulls up. You may find yourself that when you create the store, you don't have access to the catalog and products, okay? And that is simply because the users that you have listed on there, okay, the actual online users, okay, may not have access to. So you got to make sure that if you have that problem where you create a store and you see that you don't have access to the catalog and upload the products, go and check on the online users and make sure that you have an actually online user there. Okay, because otherwise, that's really what it's doing, is restricting access to products and categories simply because there's nobody there that has the authority to access that. So make sure that you have somebody assigned as a store user that's going to have access to create the store catalogs and so forth. All right. Couple of things here regarding the when you create the store. I'm going to go back to the reseller website. Okay, a couple of things when you create the store. First of all, well, you have the ability to, of course, do the create the tax categories. You can create it at the store level. Okay, allow the owner to create the different tax categories. You can do it here. You can also do it on the terminal. Okay, and then set which one is going to be default and which is going to be used. When you do create the tax categories, just very quickly, our system, as you can see, it's got two tax items. You have the tax rates and the tax categories. The tax rates is where you go in there and you create a rate for each one of these three. And then when you create the category, you activate each one of the three. Now, mind you, it's kind of redundant because you can modify the tax rate right here, even if you've created it in the other function. All right. But if you want to be a little more organized, you create your tax rates, and then you know that for your tax categories, you're going to select whichever ones you want active. Right. And remember that the taxes are assigned at the individual product level. So you can have products that have, that are tax exempt, products that have your local, state, and maybe federal sales tax, and maybe if you sell products that also require any type of a luxury tax or an exceptional tax, you can do that as well. All right. The second thing has to do with the payment methods. Now, during the store creation, you can access, what payment methods you're going to be utilizing for the store. Back here. So let me show you. Once you, and this is within the store, usually within the store creation wizard, but if you ever need to go back, you would go into the settings of the store to look at that. So going to the same store that we saw before, okay, a couple of things. First of all, you've got the cash discount or markup feature. Now, this function is not available on the store web portal, okay? And the reason why we do that, okay, is because we want to ensure that the store owner is not going to activate a cash discount when maybe they are on a network that does not allow it. So this is the store portal that we're looking at right now. And these are the 4 items that are, if you go into the settings, but if you go to the reseller portal, they've got the additional tab for cash settings. Okay. Then of course, you've got your payment settings here in terms of activating EBT and check. You've got the loyalty, which again, all of these, the store owner also has access to. The loyalty program where you're going to configure whether they're going to use points and what ratio they're going to configure that, and then age verification. All right. There's also, whenever you create the store and you're going through the payment methods, there's another screen that comes up, which is this one here. Okay. Where you activate whichever payment methods you want. And again, you should have access to that here as well. You go here to POS configuration, POS settings, and payment method. Okay, you should also have it here. So you can activate or deactivate whichever payment methods you want. And as a matter of fact, there's one more thing here. If you want to activate the cash discount, you can choose which payment method it's going to apply to or not. Because of course, there's some restriction as far as what payment methods can utilize a cash discount. I believe that debit cards, there's a restriction, and of course EBT and so forth. So you'll be able to, at the individual payment type level, activate that cash discount or not. And remember, in order for that to be available, the store owner, the reseller needs to activate it in the store owner's profile. Okay, when they go to the POS here, configuration, just to remind you again. Okay, actually, it's here. You go to the settings, you choose a store, you go to settings for the store. Don't log in. That's where you're going to be able to activate the cash discount. All right. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was in terms of, the website for the merchant, the reports that they have access to here. Okay. You've got some pre-established reports like your bestseller, low stock report, products never purchased. The bulk of your reports are all listed here on the transactions. Here you can choose, or you can filter the data in various ways. You can go back a couple of months if you need to. Okay, you can choose a category, payment method, and so forth, and you do your query. Now you've got the reports that come up. Oh, sorry, wrong store. The store doesn't have any. I'm going to switch stores real quick because this store doesn't have any transactions. I've never really used it with transactions. So give me 1 second here. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to a store that does have transactions so you can see what the report looks like. And that is my Micro Mart, which is the one that I usually use. All right, so the Micro Mart, we're going to go to reports, go to transactions, and this is where you're going to see the bulk of your report. So I'm going to choose the store, Micro Mart. I'm going to go back just to 1 month. Do search, then you're going to see all of the transactions. So it's nice because here you can actually pull up the transaction. You can even email the receipt if the customer lost it or printed. And the nice thing is that the receipt is a PDF, is not a link or anything like that. All right. But if you want to export, you got even more reports that you can choose. All right. So you've got all of these transactions here. You can export the transactions, payments, categories, customer, employee, tax, and tips. And it comes in 2 versions, in the detailed and the totals version. So the detailed version, just to show you transactions, what that looks like. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It's going to have everything that took place in that transaction, whether it generated revenue or not, whether it generated a dollar amount or not. It's gonna be shown on there. All right. And then the totals, and let's give it a chance for this to open up. The totals just has a single line item per transaction. So as you can see, this third transaction has got all of these items on here. These did generate some revenue, but there's times where they don't, the options don't generate any revenue. They're still going to be listed on there. All right. And if you want to see, close this one out. You want to see what the transaction totals look like. And this one again, it is much more condensed, just a single line per transaction, but it still does give you quite a bit of data as far as any additional fees or charges, taxes, and so forth per transaction. So as you can see, it looks somewhat different than the first one that I showed you here. Okay. All right. So with that, I'm pretty much done with the first section of the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and move on now to the second half. As I said, this is kind of my own quick sales pitch. All right. For that, we're actually going to go to the PowerPoint presentation. So again, my name is Cesar Rivas, the National Sales Executive for Sound Payments. And Sound Payments, we really are a business that want to deliver innovation so that you can have the results that you need, but at a reasonable cost. Okay, a really value-added solution. We're located in Jacksonville. We also have some offices in the U.S. and worldwide, and we do work. We have several technology partners, but in terms of hardware, right now we're working exclusively with PACS. We're not an ISO or gateway or processor, so there's no fear of as far as us taking away any customers. Again, our Sound POS is a cloud-based POS, which has its advantages because not only is the data backed up on the cloud, but if you've got multiple terminals at the same location, they can talk to each other. It's got multiple features. It's extremely customizable. And these are some of the features that I talk about, the inventory, for example, the ability to upload your initial inventory, the ability to keep track of inventory in various ways through products, through ingredients, modifiers, through attributes like unique modifiers like size or color. You can keep track of inventory. It has an employees function that allows you to restrict access to different functions of the POS per employee at a very detailed level. It also tracks hours worked, and you're able to export those hours worked in an Excel format, so you can utilize in a payroll processing software or a payroll processing company. It has a customers feature that not only stores the customer's information, their personal information, no payment information, of course, but their personal information, but also has two functions built in, which is a function for account, so credit account. So you can actually provide them with credit and then pay back in any way that they'd like, as often as they'd like, any amount that they like. And it also has the built-in feature to control the loyalty program based on points. Again, the sales tax we talked about today, you have the ability to create as many sales tax categories as you want and then assign them individually to each product. Because it's cloud-based, it's going to be synchronizing about every 5 minutes. So if you do a sale in one POS, about 5 minutes it takes to update everybody. But if you make a change that needs immediate attention, there's a function on the system to do an immediate synchronization. I shared with you kind of the web portal that it comes with. It's not app-based, it's browser-based, so it can work on a computer, it can work on a tablet, even on a smartphone. We just recommend on the smartphone that you utilize Microsoft Edge. It's the best browser on the smartphone. And then you've got reports that are listed available both on the terminal, and these are going to be a little different, like end of day report, transaction report, and so forth. They're going to look a little different because they're going to print out utilizing the thermal paper that comes with the built-in printer. And then you've got the web portal reports that I just showed you that can be in Excel format or even PDF. All right. We're certified with all major US payment processors, so we are processor agnostic. So we can work with, First Data, TSYS, was the other one, EPX, and any one of those really. And because it's cloud-based, it allows you to really do real-time monitoring of the devices and transactions. And again, any updates that need to be done as far as firmware, software, and so forth can be done remotely with very little impact to the terminal itself. It does not disrupt the functionality of the terminal. And again, our POS is available for small, medium businesses and highly customizable. Just to show you a couple of things. On the left-hand side, you can see a couple of screens of the POS. On the top, the screen on the A920, which is the handheld one that fits in the palm of your hand. And if you can see, the orientation is God, I always forget not landscape, but the other one, all right? And then the one on the bottom is for the E700, which does have a landscape orientation. It's a little different, especially on the sales screen. You got to switch back and forth for the A920 because it doesn't fit completely. But just wanted to show you what it looks like on two of the devices. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the web portal. On the top, what would be a computer screen, and on the bottom, what would be a smartphone screen. And as you can see, I mean, you have all the functions really, whether you're on a computer, tablet, or a smartphone. In terms of the hardware, as I said, we're currently using PAX devices, very strong battery life. Now, the ones that are countertop have a battery backup of about 10 to 15 minutes. Those are really just meant so that if you're in the middle of a transaction, you don't lose that. Now, the A920, which is the portable one, that does have a couple of hours of work hours, meaning that you can leave it because it'll shut off automatically, like go in sleep mode after a few minutes of not being utilized. They all have cameras. Now, for the countertop ones, you can use Ethernet cable connection. For all of them, you can use Wi-Fi or even a SIM card. They all have SIM card slots. Okay. For the countertop ones, they have dual terminal screens, so there's no need to flip it around for the customer to pay or to add tips or anything like that. They have their own screen, and I know that's especially important now after the pandemic, of course. And for the countertop ones, you can also attach a printer. You can attach a scanner. A cash box, a scanner. The printer would be attached actually to a network device like a router and things like that. It can really be utilized in a lot of different industries. I would say in the food industry, we are getting updated so it can work, in maybe a small restaurant. It's not going to have like a reservations module or a dining room layout module, but you'll have the ability to run a tab. You'll have the ability to recall orders. You have the ability to send the order without paying for it and so forth. That's coming in the first quarter. For now, it definitely is a good fit for quick serve, like these bodegas or delis that you find in a lot of places, maybe like an ice cream shop, something like that. I would say the only quick serve type of restaurant that I would stay away from would be pizza places, simply because we don't have the ability to do half toppings left or right and so forth. But everything else, it should work. In terms of retail, it's a great fit. Garments, boutiques, we have a lot of secondhand stores that utilize them, because you can actually create or enter a new item right at the cash register very easily. Also grocery stores, and I say mini mart, bodega, small grocers, but you can also use the ones that have the checkout lanes, because these devices, even though they do come with an attached payment terminal, if you need to have a detached one, you can use an Aries 8, or we're currently testing the A35 as well. So it can also be utilized for the payment lanes where you have the payment device separate from the actual POS. And other retailers like hardware, tires, and so forth, also really, really good fit. We do provide 24/7 merchant support, and this is for any problems that they may have. There's a website, Sound Hub, which is available for the resellers themselves, and it's got user guides. It's got all kinds of resources in there, videos and so forth. We provide the app and the firmware updates, of course, and we do have an advanced reseller support, second level support, so to speak. The merchants have access to that if level 1 is unable to solve whatever issues they have, but you have access to that directly as a reseller. And of course, a very experienced implementation team. All right. So with that, I conclude the presentation today. Again, I want to thank everybody for being able to join me, especially if you are at the show. If you have any questions, you can ask now. There's a QA section here that I'm sharing with you on the screen. So you can go ahead and type in any questions that you may have. Remember that these workshops are all available on our YouTube channel, Sound Payments. So if you want to see the ones that I covered last year, by all means. And this one's going to be on there shortly. All right. You've got also my email address here, cesar.r@soundpayments.com. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send. And we do have one that came in. Let's see. Is there a live demo available of the POS? I actually do the live demos themselves. I mean, there's a video. You'll find all kinds of videos for demos that I've done in the past. But what I normally do is that I'll do a demo for you specifically, and we can record it, and then you can have access to that recording later on if you want to train. And for the time being, Evan, I mean, if you have a merchant and you want me to do, a presentation, again, you've got my email address there, cesar.r@soundpayments.com, and I'll be more than happy to facilitate one for you as well. All right. So any other questions? Okay, we got one more question here. Yes, this is ours. Okay, Sound Payments Sound POS is developed by us. That's why we're able to add new features ourselves directly. Okay, we're not a reseller or represent anybody else. And I want to emphasize again, we are not a processor. We don't process at all. That's why, as a matter of fact, Matt, that's why we bill you. We don't even want to deal with billing the client. We don't want to deal with deactivating terminals or anything like that. We want you to manage that whole relationship. But yes, we own and we develop our own solution for Sound POS. All right, and you're welcome, Evan. So any other questions? Great. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Oh, Matt. Okay. Is there a way for ACH acceptance? No, there's not, Matt, unfortunately. We're looking to add more things. First quarter, for example, we're looking to add things like we're going to integrate a scale. For example, we're doing that. We want to have the ability to run tabs so that you can verify if a credit card is valid or not. So we're adding more things for the first quarter, and we will continue to add more. One of the things that I have in mind, we're even looking at maybe adding the ability to do like a purchase order and things like that. Yep, I know it ends in 2 days. So we should have next week. We should have the announcement of what is already active. So one of the things that I'm looking at, and we are working to see if we can create purchase orders, but I'd like to see if we can integrate with an e-commerce so that, you know, storefronts that have also a website where they sell their stuff that we can integrate. Currently, for example, we're not integrated with any food delivery services, even though the system does support carry out and delivery orders, but we're not integrated with, you know, with Uber Eats or DoorDash or anything like that. That's also in the plans. But for this first quarter, yeah, we should see by next week, we should have the scale integrated and we should have the ability to run the tabs on the credit cards. All right. All right. So with that, guys, I got 1:31 on the dot Eastern time. I appreciate again you taking the time. If you have any further questions, please feel free to shoot me an email at caesar.r@soundpayments.com. And again, if you need me to do a presentation for you, a demo for one of your merchants or team and so forth, I would be more than happy to do that. All right. So again, thank you, everybody.